So I made it back to Springfield. I did talk with my mom. It's just a small apartment because it's her and her boyfriend. Because I told her also, you know, one of the dentists was in Jamaica Plain, where I used to live for a while, at the halfway house. So I thought, I can't go to Connecticut, New Haven, because of the travel ban. I didn't really want to go back to the Berkshires, just because the city has more to offer in jobs. You know, it's easier to navigate on sidewalks with street lights at night versus the Berkshires. It's endless highways, rivers, or back dirt roads with nothing, woods, you know. So I was like, okay, you know what? In Jamaica, ow. The inside cracked a little bit, so it's just kind of sharp. It's just kind of like scraping my tongue. So I was like, yes, right in Jamaica Plain, they have me on file. I just give them my name. Probably have to fill out another patient intake or whatever. And I can get my tooth just shaved down or something at the moment, and I get the other ones filled. It's like, perfect, okay. You know, and my sponsor's up there, but he lives in Stoneham. He doesn't live in Chelsea anymore, so it's further away. So that was a no-go on where to stay. So I was like, okay, temporarily, I'll go to one of the homeless shelters. There's one in Dorchester, which I also used to live, but they weren't taking anyone in who didn't have documentation that they were clean for the virus. So I tried another one in downtown called Pine Street Inn. But because it's in downtown, that's where all the homeless people hang out, because when the shops are open, people have tons of money. The streets are like filled. And yesterday was the weirdest thing. I got off the bus. I'm walking in downtown, and it's a Saturday. Midday on Saturday. Downtown should be packed with people. I'm like, well, looking around. I'm like, what? Where the hell is everyone? I'm like, this, what the hell? So I'm walking around the park. I go to 7-Eleven. I just get a coffee. They have to make the coffee. And then I was looking for just a baseball cap because I know it's raining. So that 7-Eleven used to have fedoras and baseball caps. It was just winter hats. I'm like, it's like 45 degrees right now. I'm like, you don't need winter hats. And I'm like, shit. So I headed north a little bit. And I'm on the, I forget what they call them. It's like all brick buildings, brick sidewalks. I forget what it's called, but there was another 7-Eleven, and they had this whole selection of just hats. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll do it. So that's where $15 went. After that, I was like, okay, I have a hat. Now we can walk to the homeless shelter. I go into Pine Street Inn, and they're doing the whole, you know, masks and gloves and plastic gowns, but I walk in and there's over 100 people. There's hardly any seats. And I look weird with the Boston hat on, the glasses, the jacket from Boston, like the pants, the boots. I'm the Boston guy. I was known in, what was the town? Right up the street, Powers Bar, as Boston. Even though I'm from the Berkshires, but I kind of like Boston. So, you know, my license used to have the Boston address. My MBTA card had my disability thing because my knees suck. And walking too much is just, the joints hurt, the back hurts. And that's one reason I was turning to alcohol. I can't take painkillers because I'm allergic to them. Ibuprofen doesn't really do anything. Couple nips, numbs the first thing that goes into my mouth, my mouth. Teeth, no pain. Oh. But if I drink it's not really too much. I usually drink while I'm walking, and alcohol is a muscle relaxant also. It helps me relax, but I used to drink beer. That worked, but if I drink too much, not really even too much, I could have 4 nips. I'd be walking, getting excited, and then I start speed walking and I dance, and I overexert the muscles, and then the alcohol kicks in a different way. It makes all my muscles super loose. So walking, it doesn't work. I just collapse. 4 nips. We're not talking about like a handle or anything. So I'm in downtown, and I saw this guy. I was like, hey, you want a cigarette? I had 2 miles to walk to the Pine Street Inn. So I asked the guy, I'm like, do you have a place to stay? If you want to join me, we'll walk, together to the homeless shelter. And I was like, I have the job search app. I have 2 new phones. I have 10 gigs of data. I can help you get a job too. So we're walking down the street, and he takes this big bottle of vodka out. And I noticed, because when I go to Boston, I get pressure on the infected teeth. Not around here. It just doesn't happen around here. I was getting the pain a little bit, but that was more stress because I wasn't able to find a job. As soon as I found the job and I found that hotel, I was like, okay, pain went away, done. No alcohol needed. But we started drinking the vodka, and then I started getting tired just from walking so much. I finally, then I took a bus because I couldn't handle walking anymore. But because I hadn't slept in a day, I fell asleep on the bus. 6 and a half, yeah. I fell asleep on the bus, so their end route was like about 12 o'clock at night. And I ended up in East End, which is like, it's nowhere close to downtown. It's all the way east, like not Cape Cod, but it's the most eastern part of Boston. So I'm like, shit, now I'm 6 miles away. So buses weren't running. I tried to call the police and ask, the MBTA police, because they have information, the security. So I was just like, okay, how do I get back to where I was? I fell asleep on the bus. Now I'm stuck in the middle of a town that I've really never been to. Everything's shut down. Doors are closed. They're like, well, you could call a taxi service. They gave me 2 phone numbers for the taxi service. It's way too expensive, and they weren't even running at the time. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I have Lyft. The Lyft app I used to use in Boston, around here, and I used it in California. So I'm like, darn it. So I used $11 to book a Lyft ride right to Pine Street Inn. Or no. The last address was my old address, 276 Norfolk Ave, where I used to live in Dorchester. So I didn't even think. For some reason, I didn't think of punching in Pine Street Inn. It went to the last known address. Home. That's where home was in Boston. It really relocated. So I didn't even think. I just did it real quick, added the card number. So that's $11. Now in Dorchester. I'm like, oh, shit. Everything's recognizable. So I was like, okay, I got to get a coffee. Now it's 2 o'clock in the morning. But I forget, lobbies aren't open at McDonald's. It's only drive-through. And now it's pouring rain. Right now it's like a light mist. It's okay. Daytime. So I'm like, shit, I want a coffee. I went through drive-through. They didn't answer. They were like, you have to drive a car. So there was a cop across the street. I'm like, shit. I'm like, I came back to Boston to do this whole thing. I'm kind of homeless. I'm trying to get to Pine Street Inn. And I just wanted a coffee. And he's like, well, try that place. It was closed. Try the other place. We don't have any coffee. You have to go to McDonald's. God damn it. So I asked for information, like, where should I stay? He's like, actually, there's a homeless shelter right up the street, which is the one in Dorchester. That one they didn't allow me because I didn't have any documentation. So now I'm stressing out. I have cigarettes, but it's raining. Not these. So I'm like, okay. So the cop actually rolled up to the drive-through window. And he's like, dude, just give him a coffee. Come on, he can pay for it. So they're $1.58. And then my papers got wet. And then I went back to Pine Street Inn. And like I said, there's 100 people there. There was too much noise. I couldn't sleep. I would have had to wait there for a couple days to even get a bed. So I'm just like, fuck, no. So I left. I was just like, you know what, forget it. And then it's now like 6 o'clock in the morning, freezing cold, it's windy. So I looked it up on Google Maps and I had 30% battery. And this is when I started texting you. And I'm like, shit. 2.5 miles to walk to the Greyhound station. That was the last, like $30 to get back to Springfield. Because it's different times and different days. It's a Sunday, and that's why it was more expensive. Not the weekend or a weekday would be busier. If I booked a trip back to Pittsfield, which is the closest in the Berkshires to where my mom is, that would have been $55 after tax. All right. Just do Springfield. We'll figure something out. So, Union Station, about an hour and a half ago, I've been walking for about an hour and a half. Now, if I keep going up here, there should be a Cumberland Farms. I'm just gonna get a slice of pizza. I have $1 left. Because High Boston, they said I needed to be within more than 30 miles away, and my documentation for my bus slip said Springfield. But that would have been, what was it, 75 or something for a night, which was cheaper because it's not during Christmas time, like the last time. So I'm like, no, I can't do that. So then I got the regular pack of cigarettes, just so I had to have something to smoke, and I didn't have to worry about the wet papers or anything. And here we are. That was the place that kicked me out for no reason. $85 wasted. Up here is Cumberland Farms. So, and here we are now. I just thought it would work. I mean, I have connections out there. But there's no AA meetings. I can't host them anymore. I can't get back into the sober house because the beds are filled. I'd have to, like I said, I have to complete a program first. So I'm like, okay, I'll start at the homeless shelter, work my way into a rehab center, migrate back to a halfway house, and do the whole Boston thing over again because I'm familiar with the whole city. Leechmere, Chelsea, Harvard, Jamaica Plain, Roslindale, Dorchester, you know, Revere Beach, Belle Alamos Reservation. So I'm like, that worked before. It did. It just, when I started getting into Dorchester, and it was just like a rundown, crime-ridden, drug-infested town. I don't do drugs. So I'm just gonna chill and eat a pizza. Just a slice of pizza, that's all I have. So my mom should be calling me back to figure something out. I don't know. I didn't really want to go back to Great Barrington. Even though at one point that worked with Dunkin' Donuts, Cumberland Farms, and Staples. I was working tons. I was making tons of money. I had $2,500 saved just from working at Cumberland Farms and Staples. And that was the whole issue when I wanted to move across the street from Cumberland Farms and quit Staples. Then I could get 45, 50 hours a week. I could afford this place, no problem. It was a 3-bedroom apartment for $600 a month. Included everything. Electricity, everything. But as soon as I moved in, I went back to Cumberland Farms. And the distance to try to go from Cumberland Farms to Staples was too much. And I missed a couple days of work because I was trying to go back and forth. And I was just getting tired and missed the alarm a couple times. So I was laid off. So now I had to walk twice the distance to get to Staples. This isn't working, and that's when I went into that house right across the street from the police station. And then I planned this whole thing to get sectioned, to go to Boston, to do the whole thing fresh. It's like, yes, Boston, that'll work, and I'll make it work. And I made it work. But then, So then I thought Springfield, because then I could help my sister out just temporarily. I'll get a job, I'll get a place. And I did. Then this outbreak happened, everything shut down. I have no job. Now I have no place. So, we're at Cumberland Farms.